Hello everyone, welcome to the EMF Detection Series. I am the Electromagnetic Field Protection Guru. In this video, I am going to go over what are some typical sources of EMF that you would likely to have in your workplace. So not just utility or industrial workers, even office workers may be subject to high levels of EMF, depending on what equipment or appliances are in the vicinity. In fact, with several studies that I've seen, workplace EMF exposure is indeed the highest. And for me personally, EMF levels are very high for myself in the workplace because I'm actually working in the industry, and I am subject to consistent relatively high amount, upwards of more than 2 milligauss in my daily life in my 95. So, and maybe you are too. And the reason being is that for myself, it's not because that I'm working in a particular industry that is subject to high EMF levels. In which case, my industry is actually one of the industries with the highest EMF levels because it is in the power industry. But this is more or less because my office is actually situated above the electrical room, and so and I am not approved for moving of my office, so that's why I'm still getting stuck with high levels of EMF. Now, regardless, you might be subject to that. Like, let's say if you are close to a fax machine or electrical room, and if that's the case, you might also have a high exposure of EMF, and you probably have not realized it. So, what you should look out for now. There are things that you can't see, such as crappy wiring of the building, in which that happens a lot, and crappy wiring does lead to high EMF levels in the building. But those are things that you can't see. But let's look at what you can see so that you could avoid that. Now, anything that's close to the kitchen at work might be subject to high EMF levels, but that's because of coffee station, microwaves, coffee machines, dishwashers, etc. So all of these does produce relatively high levels of EMF levels. So you better take note of that when you are around at your office. Now, another thing you should look is photocopiers and fax machines, because those usually have high EMF levels as well. Now, if you are in IT or in a corporation where there is a huge IT department, you should look for where the server rooms are, or where the server clusters are located, because these are basically a huge generating plant of EMF. That is because there's a lot of electrical wiring, and there's huge amounts of power needed to power up these server clusters. And so with that amount of power, it also leads to high levels of EMF. And lastly, and that is the problem that I have in my workplace, and that is the electrical room. Again, that is because of the electrical wiring and the current loading that's centralized in these locations. So if your office is near the electrical room, maybe consider moving. But like me, where I am actually not being able to move, uh, then maybe you should consider changing jobs or changing the place at work. And that is actually, to be honest with you, that is what I am considering right now, because I would say if, like, let's say you have a concern of EMF levels, and if your supervisor doesn't respect your concern, I believe that um, this is a red flag that they don't respect you as an employee as well. So because this is actually a health concern, and if they and you know what, for me as a specialist in EMF, um, to have it actually you know banned from moving to another office because of detected EMF level, I don't think that it's very respectful for my profession. But that's another story for another day. We should continue on with this video. Now, which industries in which your work is mostly at risk to EMF exposure? Well, the power industry, but more so is if you're working in generation, because generation facilities usually have huge rotary equipment, as well as it is performed at a huge current load as well as a huge voltage. So especially in generation is where your EMF exposure would be at its greatest. And with respect to rotary equipment, your next highest risk would probably be in refineries and foundries, because they do have huge machines, huge motors, so they will produce huge EMF levels as well. And lastly, hospitals, because they have a lot of MRI and X-ray machines, etc. So if you are working on those daily, then there is also a high risk of EMF exposure as well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that the information that I provide you is going to be helpful for your research and analysis on the EMF levels around you. Please join us by joining us as a member, as part of the EMF Electromagnetic Protection Group, by clicking and filling out our registration form in the description on my video below. And what would you get from this membership is you would get the latest news on EMF research. You were also going to get the latest free tools to analyze the EMF levels around you. You will also get reviews on what is effective and what is not effective with regards to EMF detection and protection. Now, if you join now, you will receive some of my experiences in EMF consultation, and that is the typical EMF levels that you will see for your home appliances. So what you have in this sheet right here is going to be very useful information, as these are some of the measurement ranges that I obtain from different households using a industrial level EMF detection equipment. And these values are what I've got through my years of experience as an EMF consultant. So this information is very useful when you are doing the readings yourself, or when you are asking someone to do readings for you, because now you would have reference values to base it off, as to see whether or not your appliances and home equipment resides in the low value or high value of the EMF range. So be sure to join us, be part of our membership. It's free. Subscribe to our channel for our latest videos. I hope you enjoy these information. I hope this helps you in your EMF research and analysis. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.